Alright, it's official. I'm starting to like Dreamworks. Oh, never thought I'd say that before. As a kid, I watched a lot of cartoons, waking up for school and then immediately going to the TV when I got back home. The main shows I watched being some of the classics: Tom and Jerry, Thundercats, Ben 10, Ed, Ed and Eddie, and finally, He-Man. Oh, anyone else feeling old right now? I used to watch him every time he was on, defeating Skeletor all the time with his family and friends, protecting Etheria from his harm. Which is why, to my shock, that I slept on this really amazing show, seeing that it's related to the series and one of its characters. Like Hippo, this show has an amazingly bright, really bright art and animation style, really relatable characters, and a story that honestly made me want to cry a couple times while watching. Anyways, in today's video, I want to talk about the first season of yet another excellent show by Dreamworks, with yet another remarkable cast of colorful characters. I'll be checking out the rest of the season in future videos, but let's jump right into She-Ra and the Princess of Power. Before I watched the show, I gotta admit, I was really hesitant about it. It kinda looked like something I would show my little sister. You know, your standard kid show about princesses talking about the power of friendship and all that. Kinda wasn't my thing, but since it's related to He-Man in some way, I had to at the very least give it a watch and a fair shot. Man, did it go above my expectations, like seriously. Now, if you watched my last video on Kipo, you know that I absolutely gush over any type of animation / art style with a fluid, bright, and somewhat atmospheric and tasteful style, because it allows me to be more immersed in what I'm watching, which this show demonstrates a lot of. I really love that they changed the whole visual and design style of the show and its characters, making them stand out from the original. It would have honestly been weird if they kept the original rough, realistic style of the He-Man or She-Ra series. Despite not many people liking it at first, I'm personally really happy with the changes. It updates it for a modern audience to enjoy. Though, would love to see a He-Man or She-Ra series with that old style sometime in the future. The visual style the show has is really good. It has the bright color style that I love to see in shows like this, having this watercolor / smooth pastel art style that gives into the fantasy feel that the show has encompassing it. Some of the scenes are beautiful because of this. For instance, my favorite screen caps or scenes in general are in the Princess Prom episode. I don't know, something about the blues and different color tones just makes everything pop out to me. There's even one scene in the episode that I love the most, when Adora and Catra are just dancing. I know it's not magical or amazing as other scenes in the show, but I just enjoy this scene because of the overall pink color tone it went for, along with various other backgrounds in the show. I also like various scenes that they did with the antagonist named Shadow Weaver in the Fright Zone. She is seriously creepy throughout the show, especially when one of our main protagonists named Glimmer gets taken prisoner. The scene is so well designed with its shadows and eeriness, showing how she's dealing with everything that's going on. I really appreciate how the bulk of the scenes with her just play with her powers in animation. Which reminds me, this show is also, of course, an action series. I mean, it is set in the He-Man universe after all. Unfortunately, this is where my only negative but overall positive critique that I have on the show. Betrayal! I have some mixed feelings about the show's combat animation. Sometimes it can be or feels rather stiff. Key points being when our main protagonist Adora turns into She-Ra, mainly sticking to having her use her powers, say punching things, slamming her sword into the ground to create shockwaves, cutting tank barrels in half, and not using the sword, just throwing the thing half the time. I mean, to be fair, the original series wasn't known for its fights and all that. It was actually pretty stiff because animating stuff like this was expensive at the time, especially for a TV show, and if you were to watch it back, it did not age well. But that doesn't suggest the show doesn't have any good or interesting fights. There are plenty of interactions throughout the show I actually did enjoy. The first few times she turns into She-Ra is pretty good, giving some entertaining combat scenes. I especially enjoyed when Adora fights Catra on top of the ice castle. You see Catra just toying with her, getting cocky and almost causing herself to fall to her death. It was paced pretty well. Even the final episode of the season, the whole episode's final fight, is really well animated, giving weight and feel to Adora and Catra's fight, developing the relationship even more, while also cutting to our main characters, demonstrating that they've developed quite a bit over the season. I love it. Since we're already on the subject of the characters and in part the story, the characters in the show are actually really well designed and of course well written, each of course being really relatable to some extent, while also giving each character or pair of characters an interesting or possible plot thread. Let's start off with Glimmer. She's a character that I kinda love. She's actually one that shows some really good promise in some future plot development. What kind? Well, I have no idea yet. Over the course of the season, we see her become less of the stubborn, scared, but brash character she started off as, to more of a responsible and braver character that may go into a possible leadership role. Though I wouldn't know since I haven't even started season 2. I actually really want to see her become a strong and just really prominent female character in the show. Another character that I want to talk about and absolutely love is Scorpia. She absolutely kills me when she's on screen.
You won't be going alone. You'll be joined by Force Captain Scorpia.
Kitty! Huh? Just so you know, I'm a hugger.
She reminds me a lot of Kite Man in the Harley Quinn animated show, having almost every mannerism and mood that he has. Seriously, these characters are so similar, I love it. She has this naive and sweet feel around her, and she's the sweetest force captain you can find. Seriously, if I wasn't scared of scorpions, I would give her the biggest hug I could. Makes you really wonder why she's even in the Horde. Honestly, I really want to see more of her in the later seasons.
Watery death awaiting at the slightest mishap? Man, that's what I call living.
Yeah, I'm really gonna need you to shut up.
Now, of course, the last and my favorite characters I want to talk about are Adora and my kitty cat waifu, the cutest and best girl, Catra. Seriously, don't you just want to cuddle this face?
Adora, I need to blow something up.
They're the best dynamic throughout the show, both on opposite sides of the conflict. First off, I really love the design for Adora and Catra. Adora in her normal clothes looks really good. I even love the design for She-Ra, even though I hate to agree that it kinda does look like Tom Holland. As for Catra, she looks adorable. Seriously, I just want to give her some cuddles. Enough said. Anyways, I really appreciate the dynamic they went for these characters. Adora being the brave, competitive type, and Catra the slacker and thrill seeker type, which lets them bounce off each other very well. They have some rather good interactions and really emotional scenes together. I actually have one scene, or rather an episode, that made me love these characters even more and showed me how well written their characters were. See, the whole episode of The Promise revolves around the two girls reliving some of their most painful memories, letting us see how their dynamic was early on in their childhood and how it was living and training in the Fright Zone. Also showing us how Shadow Weaver treated Catra and favoring Adora, talking about Catra as if she were her pet and not a person. There are various scenes showing us a relationship between these once best friends, Adora comforting the little kitten after her interaction with Shadow Weaver, and their fight in the halls of the ruins, the animation switching between the present selves and their child selves, making for a really dramatic and sad moment between the two. These two characters' relationships is the most mature one out of the bunch, mirroring a realistic dynamic like this and making you feel for both sides. The show knows how to treat its characters, knowing when to treat them like children and let them have fun, but also allowing these characters to have real relationships and handle mature situations that are rather difficult to go through. I can actually see many of the things that Dreamworks later grabbed from this show and put it into Kipo for its scenes. They did a really amazing and spectacular job, and I really hope the rest of the seasons go at this pace. You know, I honestly was never interested in the original She-Ra as a kid, since I wasn't the demographic the show was targeting. But with this series, I'm happy to have seen this fresh take on the character. I really love this show. It has all the qualities that I enjoy, the bright and beautiful animation that I've come to expect out of modern cartoons. Characters that not only have a proper story and adventure to go through, but importantly having characters with realistic relationship problems that may mirror some that we may have IRL. She-Ra and the Princesses of Power is an amazing show that I honestly can't wait to see more of in the following seasons, and I bet gearing to be one of my old-time favorite shows if it keeps going at the pace it's going. And of course, I'll be making videos on them and seeing if my thoughts on the show change. Once again, I want to thank all of you for not only watching this video, but also watching my Kipo video that I did as well. A few of you in the comments actually wanted me to check out this show. I want to thank you for telling me and suggesting to watch it. Seriously, go ahead and suggest a show or two. Always looking for new stuff to watch, and maybe I'll make a video on it. I also want to thank my awesome patrons for supporting the channel this month, and my awesome friend and script checker Hollow for helping with today's video. These videos take so much time and effort to make, I wouldn't have been able to make this without them. Anyways, what did you guys think about the first season of the show? Did you guys like it, or maybe you hated it? Tell me down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.